Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, lay the most beautiful forest with mighty old trees, mosses and old shades of green, clear babbling streams and light open spaces with filled delicate sweet smelling flowers. In the middle of this wonderful wood stood the castle of the three bears. They were the masters of the forest. There was Big Bear, who ruled the forest with a fair and square hand, survival of the fittest. There was Midland Bear, who ruled the driving force of hunger. But last but not least, there was Little Bear, who ruled with the gentle touch of intuition. One day the three bears decided they wanted to leave their beautiful forest. They had heard of places even more beautiful and where life was so much better and easier than in their forest. They packed only the smallest of smallest suitcases and left their castle and the wonderful wood behind. They barely had left when an old, clever and cunning fox approached their empty castle. The old fox was known for the fact that she would rather beg for anything and bow for anyone than do an honest day of work. It was her typical bow, whereby her foot would scrape heavily backwards over the floor that heard the name Scrapefoot. Carefully checking the three bears were indeed gone, Scrapefoot entered the castle. She found herself in the big hall. Stood three thrones, one for each bear. Old Scrapefoot climbed onto the throne. It was too hard for her and made her bones ache. She jumped down and got onto the throne of the Midland Bear. It was too soft for her, and she could not make herself comfortable. So she went to the throne of the Little Bear. Although it was the smallest of the three thrones, it was by far the most beautiful and powerful one. The seat was covered with flowers in every color of the rainbow, tightly and skillfully woven together in her one harmonious design. Scrapefoot, who like any other fox could not see colors very well, did not see this. She only saw three flowers in three colors. As Scrapefoot sat down on the little bear's throne, all the other flowers and colors started to fade away. Scrapefoot sat down on the little bear's throne. All the other flowers and colors started to fade away until only the three Scrapefoot could see were left. They were mating, the mother, and the killer instinct. When the throne lost most of its flower and colors, the forest did as well, and other things were changed too. It was no longer the fittest who survived, but the canny, the shrewd, the guile ones. And the Midland drive in an empty stomach was replaced by the unseen force of the wind from whatever direction it was blowing. Sometimes it was so slack that hardly anything moved. Other times it turned into a voracious tornado, destroying everything in its way. Old clever and cunning Scrapefoot was now the new mistress over the entire fortress. The entire forest. But the bottom of her throne was only being held together by the three remaining flowers. When dawning morning came out, and down came Scrapefoot. She said a wicked word or two, and then decided to see what else there was in the castle. Soon she found the dining room. In it stood a huge, heavy, but beautifully carved table with three plates on it. On the first one lay a big smoked salmon, known to the three bears and to the people of the Eire as the salmon of knowledge. Scrapefoot took the plate. The strong and weird smell of the salmon made her quickly push the plate as far as she could. On the second plate lay a lovely cake, dripping with honey, known to the three bears and the gods as the nectar of wisdom. A bit cautious after her first experience, Scrapefoot very, very carefully took the plate, but as soon as she smelled the richness and sweetness of the honey, she pushed the plate even further from the first one. On the third plate stood a little saucer filled with milk, known to the three bears and any other mother as the food of the little ones, who are still too small to eat anything else. Scrapefoot carefully smelled the milk, but this did not smell too strong, too weird, too rich, or too sweet. She took a little lick and liked it so much that she went on drinking till it was all gone. Scrapefoot said a wicked word or two because she would have liked some more milk, but there was none left. She continued her explorations of the castle. She entered the bedroom. In it stood beds, one for each bear. Scrapefoot climbed into the bed of the big bear. When she was halfway up, she it was too much of a climb and climbed to the bed of the middling bear instead. But Scrapefoot could not get comfortable in middling bear's bed. She wished she had more pillows for support and an extra blanket in case it got cold. So she went to the bed of the little bear. This was lying on the bed of the roses, and soon the old fox fell asleep, completely forgetting that she was lying in someone else's bed. Meanwhile, the three bears were looking very unhappy. Their new place was not at all what they had thought it would be. Life was neither better nor easier. They longed for so much for their old forest and their beautiful castle. And they took their suitcases filled with the experience of what not to do and went back home. When they got to the castle, they immediately sensed that things were amiss. They entered the great hall, and the strong voice of Big Bear rolled like a thunder of the forest. "Who has been sitting in me throne?" he roared, immediately followed by the middling voice of the middling bear, which had not been heard in the forest for so long. "Who has been sitting in me throne?" said middling bear. And finally, little bear's voice is like the morning dew that awakes them fresh as the flowers speak. "Who has been sitting in my throne and sat in the bottom of it?" said little bear. They went on to the dining room, and again the voice of the big bear rolled like lightning and thunder over the forest. "Who has been the salmon of knowledge so far out of reach?" he growled. And once he really heard the voice of middling bear could be heard, as middling bear said, "Who has been pushing the cake with the honey and the wisdom of the father out of the reach of the salmon of knowledge?" Little bear said, with a soft and weary voice, "Who has been drinking the milk from the little ones and has drunk it all up?" The three bears continued their search and went to the bedroom. "Who has been trying to climb into me bed?" bellowed Big Bear. "Who has been lying in my bed?" said Middling Bear. And Little Bear said, "Who has been lying and sleeping in my bed?" "Look, here she is." Scrapefoot was still asleep. She was so fast asleep that her thundering voice of Big Bear was no more to her than a soft whisper of the wind. While the three bears wondered what they should do with her, Scrapefoot slept like a baby. They decided that they would burn her with the burning flames of a true heart's desire. But burn Scrapefoot they did not. They tried to drown her in the rivers filled with the tears of sorrow. But drown Scrapefoot they did not. Then the three bears took Scrapefoot, who was still sleeping like a baby, to the window. They swung her backwards and forwards, and out of the window. The three bears had thrown Scrapefoot so far out of the window they could not see her any more, and they wondered if they would ever see her again. Scrapefoot had landed with such a big bang that she had finally woken up, and she counted her lucky stars that not one bone in her old body had broken. She looked around the place where she had landed and smelled the air. Was that not the smoke of the fire and the tempting smell of the soup? Through the trees, she could vaguely see a little wooden house, with the smoke rising from the chimney. Scrapefoot licked her beard, wagged her tail, and went on her way. There were still plenty of places for her to see and go, but she would never, ever go near the castle of the three bears again.